engineering perspective, diesel engines offer a lot of things that petrol engines can't. They're less fussy about where they operate, since diesel engines don't use sparks to ignite the fuel inside their combustion chambers, and that means they tend to be a little more resistant to operating in damp or waterlogged conditions. They're also capable of producing more torque and power at lower engine speeds, require less frequent servicing, and have better fuel economy per gallon or litre of fuel than a gasoline engine would. This has meant for years that diesel has been the go-to fuel of choice for heavy-duty vehicles like farm machinery, trucks, and vehicles designed for towing. But as we've said many times over the years here, emissions from diesel vehicles are pretty horrendous. Sure, diesel engines may go further per gallon of fuel, but they also emit far more crud out of their tailpipe. While they may end up producing less carbon dioxide, they produce a lot more NOx and a whole host of tiny microparticulates that are known to contribute to poor air quality, smog, and respiratory disease. And while you can put additives into modern diesel engines to lower the amount of harmful stuff chucked out the rear, they are, frankly, still terrible for the planet, and thus, us humans. Thanks to the fallout of Dieselgate, diesel cars are widely shunned by most industrialised countries today, with the so-called clean diesel marketing slogans of 10 years ago shown to be nothing but spin and outright lies. Thankfully, diesel vehicles are generally getting replaced by more efficient gasoline engines, hybrids, and most importantly, zero tailpipe emission vehicles like battery electric and hydrogen fuel cell cars. Some countries are even offering cash for clunker incentives designed to get people out of older diesel vehicles and into an electric one. But one area where diesel engines have remained king, at least among private customers, is the world of the pickup truck, where diesel is still not only seen as the fuel of choice for serious, hardcore pickup truck owners who want to use their trucks for hauling, hunting and off-roading, but also something of a political F you to those of us who would rather they didn't drive such a highly polluting vehicle. And therein lies coal rolling, the generally illegal practice where truck owners purposely modify their vehicles to emit large plumes of black, sooty exhaust that is not only well and truly in violation of all emissions requirements, but can also obscure vision for other road users. These modifications include removing stock particulate filters designed to capture some of the largest particulates in diesel exhausts, as well as making modifications to the engine designed to force more fuel into the cylinders than the engine actually needs, which results in incomplete combustion within the engine, forcing some of the fuel to exit the vehicle through its exhaust through plumes of black, toxic smoke. These black plumes, rich in carbon, are far more toxic and carcinogenic than the exhaust of any diesel engine not modified to roll coal. But since diesel engines that are fed more fuel than they need to often end up producing more power at the wheels, and the claims of usually testosterone-fueled joy that some truck drivers make seeing everyone from cyclists and joggers to hybrid and electric car drivers disappear into thick plumes of black smoke, well, folks still modify their trucks, even where it's illegal to do so. And as long as diesel trucks are made, we will see coal rolling take place, however unsafe and however socially irresponsible it happens to be. Those who roll coal often portray it as their God-given free speech right, and thus it remains a problem, at least here in the United States. But now it looks like one of the world's leaders in pickup trucks, Ford, could be about to put the first nail in the coffin of coal rollers and diesel engines, thanks to its hybrid F-150 and its upcoming all-electric F-150 Lightning. Ford announced earlier this week that it's going to drop the F-150 PowerStroke from the brand's lineup, arguing that customers are picking gasoline EcoBoost and hybrid F-150 PowerBoosts over the F-150 PowerStroke in most cases. The reason? The F-150 PowerStroke isn't the most powerful F-150 you can buy anymore, and when the F-150 Lightning comes out next year, it will honestly look a little puny. So let's look at the figures. The 3.3-litre naturally aspirated gasoline V6 in the entry-level Ford F-150 makes 290 horses, 216 kilowatts, and maxes out at 265 pound-feet of torque, which is 359 newton-meters. That's enough to do a decent day's work if you want light duties, but for those who want their trucks for power, the diesel was once the top of the pack. Despite producing less power than the V6 gasoline at 250 horses, 186 kilowatts, its torque was 440 pound-feet, 597 newton meters. And the torque from a diesel engine, at least historically, has been hard to beat. Because trucks that are used for work, i.e. towing things or carrying things, benefit from the extra torque to keep things moving or to keep itself moving, diesel trucks were king. But last year, Ford introduced the F-150 PowerBoost hybrid. It had 430 horses, 320 kilowatts, and it made 570 pound-feet, 773 newton meters of torque. Ford's diesel F-150 couldn't touch its power, and if that wasn't enough, Ford's hybrid F-150 offered things that other F-150s didn't. An onboard power inverter that not only made it possible to power work tools from the truck, eliminating the need for an external power generator on work sites without power, but it also had the kind of performance you'd normally only find in the much more expensive Ford F-150 Raptor. Its fuel efficiency was nothing to sneeze at either, another area typically dominated by diesels. It has, since its launch, continued to sell really well. Now, I know what you're going to say next, either that I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm a girl or British, or that I'm not a real pickup fan because I'm clearly not someone who's owned or used a pickup. But you know, I grew up on a dairy farm. I am no stranger to seeing trucks working hard. And yes, I also know that those who want serious heavy-duty power won't buy an F-150 because they will be buying the F-250 Super Duty PowerStroke, or maybe a Ram of similar specs. And yes, that diesel engine does still produce more power than the F-150 PowerBoost, but stop. Because next year, Ford is coming out with the F-150 Lightning, a truck which, even in its base form, will output 426 horses, 318 kilowatts at the wheels, and it will make 775 pound-feet of torque, which is 1,050 newton meters. It will accelerate to 60 miles per hour in 4 and a bit seconds, and it will tow up to 10,000 pounds if configured correctly. Sure, it will also be the most expensive F-150 made if you go all out on trim options, but if you go for the base model, which will still outperform the outgoing PowerStroke F-150, it starts at a slightly lower price. And that's before you even factor in the $7,500 federal tax incentive that is available for going electric. As a work truck, it will obliterate a stock diesel F-150, cost less to run on a day-to-day basis, and like the F-150 PowerBoost, will come with its own onboard power. In fact, it will come with a larger, more powerful onboard inverter than the F-150. And if you're willing, it will also power your home in a blackout. And of course, it is not alone either. Tesla's Cybertruck has similarly impressive figures, and for buyers who aren't put off by its unconventional appearance, which certainly attracts some folks to it as well, there'll be another compelling work truck there that blows many diesel truck figures out of the water. Electric and hybrid pickups may not make that same noise and may not own the, quote, libtards in their sissy Priuses. But here's the thing, I think it speaks a universal language everyone understands. Power. Sheer, unadulterated power. And from the time at the drag strip and time on the road, if there's one thing that hardened gearheads love, it's power. And I think, honestly, that's how automakers, both legacy like Ford, GM and Ram, and newcomers like Tesla will win over their loyal diesel truck fans. The reason so many diesel truck fans got into diesel trucks is because they're more powerful than gasoline ones. They can pull more, carry more, and make a whole lot more noise. And while hybrid and electric pickups might not have the last one, they certainly have those first two. Still need convincing? Take a look at the way in which hardened car fans have got behind the wheel of high-performance EVs like the Tesla Model S Plaid and Porsche Taycan. By the virtue of electric motors and their instant torque, electric cars are naturally quicker off the line for less effort. They have incredible handling thanks to traction control and instant torque vectoring, and they require less tinkering. Now, to be sure, some people, including me, like tinkering on cars, but for those who like the thrill of speed and the gut punch of acceleration, EVs win. In the truck world, we've not really had anything yet to function as an electric work truck. At least nothing that looks fairly conventional. But the hybrid F-150 and F-150 Lightning, I think they're it. Just like the GM Silverado electric is likely to be, the Hummer pickup will be for super wealthy buyers, the upcoming Ram 1500 EV, and for those who like more unconventional designs, the Cybertruck. Ultimately, I think the pull of power, the instant torque, the fast acceleration, they're going to attract far more people than the possibility that you can dump smoke on some stranger. And the best bit? With the exception of the Cybertruck, nobody will know you're driving electric. That's it for today. Please do hit subscribe and that bell if you haven't yet, as it should make sure that you don't miss out on our videos. And don't forget to do the same thing to our 2 other channels, Transport Evolved Take 2, and if you're in a hurry, Transport Evolved Shorts. Thanks on behalf of the entire TE crew go out to the folks on my right for being our $15 to $49 a month Patreon supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons, that's Andrew Martin, Guido Drahoa, Brophy Wolf, Anonymous Freak, Regine Fellows, Carl Hodgson, Gordon C., Paul Conway, Laura Sanborn, Anthony Coates, Denny Hyde, Sean Ueda, and Tazla in the Gong. And our deepest gratitude to our $100 a month Patreon supporters, John Lyons, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, JP Fagerback, Will Graylin, and Ian. If you'd like to join the ranks of wonderful supporters, you'll find links below to Patreon and Ko-fi. You can chat with the team and TE fans over at Discord. And don't forget, we have some great swag available at our Red Bubble store. Thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving!